Hello. We're gonna continue today. Gonna do also contouring on the surface, but it's gonna be in both directions. Just let me open the file. Okay. So what we are gonna do is we're gonna look at Rhino and see how it works in Rhino and how we can produce the same process in Grasshopper, but what is the main difference and what is the advantages of doing that on Grasshopper? So we're gonna have the same rectangle that we had before, 10 by 20, and it's just again to know the size, similar to when we did the exercise of the chair. This bounding box is just for us to know what kind of basically size we have. And then actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to Grasshopper and I'm gonna turn this whole thing off. So middle button press, disable view. And I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna build it again with you now. Okay. So all you need to have is this bounding box, the curves, a point, and it's just a reference point, and then do loft. So if we want to do this in Rhino, we do loft, we type loft, we choose those curves. If I was going to do this in Rhino, I'm going to play a little bit with those options. So align curves. You can see the curves are flipping. Those are only vectors flipping basically. So now I have it uniformed. I'll do enter and I'll say okay. So after you left, I would type, I'm doing this on Rhino, I'll even type contour, or what I will do actually, I would go to curve because contour is producing curves at the end. Curve from object and then contour. I'll choose this, enter, base point, direction, and then the distance between the contours are 0.50, and then I have the contouring. So that's if I'm gonna do it on Rhino. Okay, now let's do the same thing, but in, actually I want to delete this. Let's do the same thing, but in Grasshopper. So what do I need? Okay, I would need to choose the curves as multiple. So I'll type just curves or curve. I'll type point and I will type loft for now. Okay, so curve, I will say select multiple curves. I'll choose them in order. Then I will do enter. Okay, so you can see them. Point, I will say set one point. Choose this one, connect. So the curve connect the C grip, which is section curves. That's creating this loft. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type also contour. So we've done this before. We're gonna choose this. So S is for shape, which is the loft surface, and then the P is actually the point, and the direction. So if we want to do contour, should be in the Z direction. So I'm gonna type Z, connect it here, and then D is how many? A distance between the contour, which we said is 0.5, and then I'm gonna do that. So actually, sorry, the contour, I was thinking extrude. When we extrude, it should be in the Z direction, but here it's not correct, Z direction. Here it should be X or Y. So I'm going to choose X for now. So I'm going to type X, then connecting it here. So these are my contours. So it should be Z, or let me type Y so you see the difference. Or it should be Y. Okay. So for now, I'm going to do it X. Okay. But you can have those two options. Okay. And then I'm going to extrude. So extrude, I'm going to type extrude. We've done this command before. So the B is for the base, which is profile curve or surface, which is basically our curves, the contour curves. And then the depth, we want them in Z direction, correct? But you can see them, they want up. I want them to go down. I'm gonna type minus. No, I'm not gonna type minus, actually. I'm gonna type 0.5 and then I'm gonna edit the slider. I'm gonna do this. And I'm clicking on the factor. I'm gonna type here -1. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna pull this to the minus 0.5. And you can see how they flipped in this direction. Okay. So kind of first operation is curves, loft, and then it's contouring in one direction. So all these are, so we did kind of 2 steps if you want. Okay. And then we just need to give those contouring thickness. So we need to extrude them again. But in the, since they were done on the X direction, I'm going to extrude them in the X direction. So I'm going to do extrude. So we extrude the curves. So now they have thickness on the Z, and now we need to extrude them again in the other direction. So you can see but it's too thick right now. So I'm going to write this 0.5. That's too thick actually. So I'm going to type 0.1 actually. Yeah. So right now we did first operation was the loft, the curve. So I'm going to group them. I'm going to select them, Control G. And then the second one is actually the contouring with the extrusion in both. And then what I want to do is I want to create the other direction. So I'm going to do contouring again. So I'm going to contour in the perpendicular direction of those curves. I'm going to do contour again. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose the same loft because I want to create contour on the same surface. So this surface I want to contour. I'm going to choose the same point as a reference point. And I'm going to choose the same number or distance between the contours. But here I'm going to go in the other direction, which is the Y. So you can see the lines are created now. If we go to the top of view, you can see the other direction now. Okay. And now we're going to do the same. We need to extrude those in the Z direction. Okay, so I'm going to just copy these. I'm going to select them using Shift, Control C, Control V. I'm going to copy them here. And then I'm going to connect this one here. So you can see already they are extruded. And then I'm going to extrude them on the Y direction. Extrude. Then I'm going to say Y. And then I'm going to do Control C, Control V here. Connecting here, here, and here. And you can see the thicknesses. Let me see if we can see it better here. We have an issue with grasshopper that everything is in red. So this is the second operation, okay? So I'm going to group them. So if we want to just simplify the definition, we did lofting from the curves. We create contouring in two directions. Each time we kind of extrude them to the Z, and then we extrude them to one side. So they have thickness if you want to laser cut them or whatever, it's working. The only thing that is not working for me is that I can't really view them. So I'm going to add a color, and this color is called swatch. So if that reminds you of Adobe Swatch. So double click on the white, choose the pink, for example, accept. Before that, the only thing I forget to extrude is the lofted surface. I'm going to say extrude, and I'm going to say I want to extrude this one. How much I should extrude it? 0. Let's try 0.1 first. Oh, we need to give it direction, of course. So that's that also beauty of it. If it's not correct, the component you kind of connected, the grasshopper, it has its own way of saying so. So here it told me that I've done it wrong. Yeah, it was 0.1 and that's it. Yeah. Okay, so we have this sorted as well. So this is another operation that can be grouped together. We go back to the color. So let me give actually this color here to this extrusion. Okay, let me put it here, and I want to move this whole thing here. So we have loft, of extruding the surface, extruding the contours in both directions. And then I want to give it color, but it's unable to connect because they have the same side of a grip on, kind of. So I'm gonna use something called preview, custom preview, and that will help me to connect batteries that they have the same directions. So this one is the geometry and this one is the material. So if I press here, you can see the color. Now I can see exactly where's the surface thickness of it. So I'm gonna just copy those two, Control C, Control V again, and I'm gonna move them here, and then I'm gonna move these here. I'm gonna change the color. I'm gonna put blue, accept, and here I'm gonna put, if I can, purple, accept. Okay, so here I'm gonna connect it to this kind of contour, to the X contour here, to the Y contour. And now I'm gonna start to look at my model here. Now what I need to do is probably just turn everything off here and then have a look. And really, this is a way to see your model better. So in Rhino, we are used to color objects in colors and just distinguish if it's working or not. And here, hopefully this way, it will show you the elements better. So I'm just going to group them together, the colors one. So this is just, and then I can group again here. And you can like right click here and say loft contour X and Y, basically. And so you can leave yourself some notes, or you can double click here and scribble, right? Scribble and just say, I don't know, session 5 loft contour X and Y thicknesses. Like, just leave yourself some notes for the definition. So when you come back to them, you remember what was it for example. This one is too big. Okay. So this is the definition. So we chose the curves, we chose the point, So this is imported from Rhino. We did the loft in Grasshopper. We did contouring in both directions, X and Y. We gave distance, same distance. So also what is nice about this, that you can change now this number. So if we make it bigger, you'll have less contours, but they change together. So you can see the difference. And that's why we do definitions on Grasshopper. So especially in the design period, when you are still deciding which way to go, doing all these scenarios will take so much time in Rhino, while here, after you build the definition, it's just really one button away. So just playing with this number slider, and you are able to have different scenarios, and maybe you can bake 3 scenarios out of 10 and then share them with your colleagues at work or at school or whatever. So you can change also here the extrusion, how much the contours are in the Z direction, how much the thickness of them. So those numbers as well you can change. Of course, you can change the colors as well. But this is the definition in like simple terms. So I hope you practice what I showed you in this video, and yeah, look forward to seeing your work. Thank you.